What is up, my peepholes? This is your guy, Kalai, and welcome to a quick and dirty video. Now, those of you who follow me on Twitter, and those of you who are new subscribers from Imager, you know exactly what this is because I haven't been able to shut up about it. For everyone else, this is a PS4 that I found next to one of the dumpsters at my apartment complex, and the funny part of the story is I wasn't dumpster diving. One of the rare times I find something really cool just sitting out in the wild. All I was doing was taking out the trash. I ended up finding a computer monitor still in its original box, and no, that's not it back there. You'll know what that is in a second. Decided to take a dig around, and I found this little guy. Well, specifically, I found this little guy. It took a little bit of extra digging to find this. Sadly, I found no controllers or cables, but I can make do for testing purposes, because that's what this video is, a test. Now, the only repairs that I have done to this since I found it was I straightened this out in the back, because if you see here, it's got a little bit of flexing. This was actually bent in, and it's also a little broken right there. And now it'll go back on. I'm honestly thinking the original owner just yanked this off, not realizing that it slides, and I'm wondering if they were trying to get to the hard drive tray. I say I'm wondering because the hard drive is still in place. Nothing was taken out. Heck, on the bottom, the warranty void sticker is still there intact. I'm wondering if they opened it up, tried to get the hard drive, and saw all of these little Torx screws with the nub inside, so they're hollow tip, tamper-proof, or security, depending on what the people around you call them, and didn't realize that all they needed was a single small Phillips head screwdriver to pull this out. Then again, they might not have realized that you don't necessarily even need that if you have a narrow piece of metal. Because I was just fiddling around with one of my lockpicks and I got this open. Just go ahead and slide this back into the original position. Bump my mic in the process. There we go. That's all that I've done to this thing. I have not plugged it in. I have not hooked it up to a TV like back there. Nothing. So give me 1 second and I'm going to plug it in for the first time. It got a little wet the other day due to a sprinkle. So it's just been drying. So let me move the cat out of my lap and plug her in. And let's hope he doesn't ruin the shot in a moment because he's been loving to be in front of the camera the moment I start speaking. Alright, power cord is right here. I got everything together and put it right next to the console so it'll be ready. Let's see. And actually, before I do that, let me just point out something I completely forgot. On the back here, oof. Let's see if it'll show up on camera. There are some impact marks. So we've got a broken bit here, a little bit of impact, and it kind of broke into the vent there. We've got a little bit of a scuff here, but not much. And a little impact there. And a little impact here. Now, this either got knocked down while in use, or those are from when it was unceremoniously chucked. I really can't speak. I'm so nervous for trying this thing out. It was unceremoniously chucked onto the concrete next to the dumpster. Now let me slow my speech down so that I'm not stumbling over my words, and then plug this thing in. I dropped the cable. All right. Moment of truth. It is plugged in, but I am not seeing a light on top. Ooh, we got blue. Let me plug in the HDMI cable. On. Oh, gotta turn on the TV. It turned itself off. I'm so nervous. It's pulling the video. Okay, we've got a black screen. Interesting. No signal. Huh. Okay, I'm trying to eject and it's doing that. It's making that noise. Turned on. We've got a blue streak, but a black screen. Because I do believe there's only one HDMI port on it. Just check. HDMI, audio, yeah. The cable's still good. I'm wondering if it was thrown out due to the HDMI port being broken. Ooh, I hate having to do this, but I'm going to do a hard power down. Okay, it is not letting me hold the power button, or hit the power button to even turn it off. So let's just do a hard power down. There we go. Fortunately, I paid nothing for this, so if that's going to do any damage, negligible. There we go, and it's plugged back in. HDMI cables are in place. Still no signal output. So I'm wondering, yeah, it might have gotten knocked down and the HDMI port got damaged. This is a second generation unit right before they switched over to the matte finish top. So we were hoping it wouldn't have the HDMI port issue, because it is solid in there. You know what? I'm going to go grab another HDMI cable because, honestly, this cable is untested. It is from a dumpster. And see if that helps. Jump cut. Alright. This is actually a reshoot of this segment. I'm back the second day. I've done a little bit more research as to what's going wrong here. And I thought, you know what, instead of forcing you guys to wait until my next video for me to not sound like an idiot, let's do it here. I'm still going to sound a little bit like an idiot, but less so. So I've done a little bit of research, and yeah, it's blinking blue on top. It's not supposed to be doing that, apparently. It's supposed to be white. This is commonly known as the blinking blue light of death. And if it's anything like the of death symptoms with the last generation of consoles, it is actually relatively easy to repair as long as it's not one of the more catastrophic versions. So I do have a new HDMI cable plugged in, and from what I read, it could be a hard drive issue, which between shootings, I actually pulled the hard drive out of this, plugged it into an external enclosure, plugged it into my laptop, and looked at it using computer management. No issues. Unless it's not supposed to be segmented like crazy. If it is supposed to be segmented like crazy, being that it is a proprietary format, then we're golden. The hard drive works. Another thing that could be an issue is the power supply itself on this machine could be causing the blinking blue light of death. I don't believe so, and I'll show you why in a second. Another issue is actually the HDMI cable, because it's not sensing a screen connected to it. So I'm going to try one thing in a second, see what happens. And then, of course, there's the something else on the motherboard potential issue, and that I don't want it to be because nobody really gives me a clear explanation right now. Admittedly, I haven't gone through every single tutorial on the internet, so there might be something I'm not thinking of, and if any of you fine people know anything, let me know in the comments down below. Now, first, I'm going to try booting this into safe mode, so apparently I hold this down until it beeps a second time. Come on. It's not beeping a second time. Huh. I do hear the hard drive whirring up. Up, there's the second beep. And still, oop, bump the camera. No signal on the screen. Okay. Oh no, it just powered back off. Okay, let's just power it back on again. It's not letting me attempt that, so it might also be a firmware issue. Now, one thing I did try, oh goodness, my battery on my camera is draining quickly. I've got this cheap Blu-ray disc, the Gun in Betty Lou's handbag. I picked this up at Dollar Tree, so I don't care if anything happens to it. In fact, I specifically bought it for testing Blu-ray drives. And I've never actually watched it. It's supposedly a zany screwball comedy, and I like those, so I should probably give it a watch sometime. Let's just... The drive takes it, so it's not going to be in an eject loop. It's spinning up the disc, which means that possibly the firmware in there is running. I'm just not seeing anything on the screen, hence the blinking blue light of doom and the no signal / black screen issue. And I can eject the disc, no problem. So I'm going to be swinging by Harbor Freight this weekend, picking up a heat gun, which is a way to fix the micro solders on an HDMI port without using a high power magnifier and a needle tip soldering iron, neither of which I have. I'm also going to be picking up a screw kit so that I can actually take the screws off of it, because it turns out my Torx screwdrivers are not hollow tipped, so they cannot handle the security screws. Now, I will be doing updates videos in the near future, so if you want to be first in line to know about those, feel free to subscribe down below if you haven't already. And I actually do a lot of dumpster diving and thrifting videos. I try to bring out at least one a week these days, so think of that as an added bonus for subscribing. And in fact, when I'm done shooting this and editing, I'm going to be recording a thrifting haul video about tabletop RPGs. So if you want something extra nerdy, stick around. On that note, until next time, this is your guy Cly, signing off.